I know after reading the comments on my last video, particularly the top voted one, some of you may not want to hear this, but the Phantom of the Opera lied. He lies to Christine throughout the movie. He is a phantom because he presents a persona of himself which does not exist. Not only for him, but in general. Christine, ironically named after the primary character in the Bible, seems to have never read it. Because if she had, she would know that angels do not give singing lessons. they do not even sing. Hark the Herald Angels Sing is a misquote. It's actually spoken. The biblical passage quoted in the hymn is spoken, not sung. So an angel saying he's come to you to give singing lessons is not a real angel, not in the persona of the phantom and not in general. Angels also, surprisingly enough, are merely messengers. They deliver spoken messages or acts of mass destruction, but they do not help your favorite baseball team win the pennant. I'm sorry, but that is not scriptural. It's not in the Bible that they step on the field and help out the old ball team. Nope. It's also not scriptural that they put on high heels and strut up and down a runway selling the latest trends in women's underwear fashion. No. Angels in the Bible do not do that. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. They don't get married either. And this is related to what I'm trying to say to this channel, and apparently something a lot of you have yet to understand. A high note sung by an adult, I don't think, should be a rarity. It should not be something that people work for years and years to do, no better than an untrained child. Adults have longer vocal cords, but they don't have to use the full length of those cords. So I think that the loss of ability to hit high notes that happens after childhood is culturally imposed. Unlike a child who says, I have an imaginary friend, and whom certain adults say can see beings that exist in other frequencies, which most adults lose the capacity to see because of social conditioning. A child who shows a higher frequency in his or her voice can be perceived as doing that. They may say the imaginary friend is singing to them, but when you hear a child sing, you can hear that they are producing something of a higher frequency than most adults can do. Now, I don't think that is natural. I think that in a less oppressive society, people would be able to retain their ability to sing those high notes into adulthood or regain it in adulthood. So what I'm trying to show here is my struggle to be ordinary as I see it. It's like a matrix message. The inability to hit these high notes to me like a splinter in the mind, a sign that there's something very wrong with the world that I'm trying to correct. So there are people who ask me in response to some of my high note videos, why? Nothing else, just those three letters and a question mark. In certain contexts, such as videos done by people like Amanda the Jedi, she has some sort of context where she just says, why? It's supposed to mean something about how you interpret the degree of merit of a movie or other piece of art that she's analyzing. But I think in this context, it strikes me that we have a society of voiceless people and people who've lost their capacity to express themselves in various ways, perhaps because of some of the same mechanisms that keep them from hitting high notes. So I'm interpreting this one-word question as something people want to ask when they don't know exactly what they're asking. Something like what they say when they ask someone, why do you climb a mountain? And the climber says, because it's there. But a mountain challenges by its physical presence, its mass, its ability to force everything to go around it. In the case of very prominent peaks, to make its own weather, to change the world around it, and to challenge people and ask them why can't they do the same? Why don't they have a faith that can move mountains, for instance, or a faith that can hit high notes? But in the case of the high notes, the voice challenges like the mountain in the opposite way. It challenges through its absence. So, someone asking me why in response, and presumably asking me why I'm exercising and trying to hit these high notes and extend my voice to where I think it should never have been lost in the first place, my reply to that is because it's not there. It's like being challenged to climb a mountain, getting back one's voice. But the challenge is delivered through absence rather than presence. We know it's real. We know that a child can produce a certain frequency that most adults can't. And it's a hint of an unseen realm, or an unheard realm in this case, but it's more perceivable. We know that child is vibrating at a higher frequency in a physically measurable fashion. We can all hear it, or most of us can, who haven't lost our hearing, or who have the capacity of looking at the readout from some sort of measuring device. And it's a hint at an unseen realm. So I guess I can see why people would use the term angel in some way. But it's a reference to an unseen realm where those who live in that unseen realm don't sing. So it doesn't make sense to call somebody an angel for singing high notes. Okay? Singing is a human thing. Gods don't do it. One of them promises to at one point in the Bible. But generally speaking, it's a human thing. Certainly if you look at how often it's done, it's overwhelmingly done by humans, where you can identify who's doing it. There's one case where what are they called? Morning stars sing, but how you interpret that is flexible. But when you definitely know who's singing, it's people who do it. And people, I think, ought to be able to